What's up EFD? On today's video we're counting down 10 players who are having a fresh start this season following a tough period in their career. Let's go. 10. Dele Alli. Dele Alli's fall from grace is well documented, and his January switch to Everton did little to get his career back on track. A last-minute signing following the appointment of Frank Lampard, Alli joined a horribly disjointed side that had just been taken over by a manager who'd been out of the job for over a year. Not an ideal scenario for a fallen star low on confidence. Alli made just one start for the Toffees on the final day of the season after they'd secured their safety, and Lampard's lack of trust in the 26-year-old was reflected in the club's summer business, as they signed 3 new midfielders and sent Alli on loan to Besiktas with an option to buy. In his 2018 pomp, Transfermarkt valued him at £90 million, with the Football Observatory deeming him the Premier League's most valuable player behind Harry Kane and Mo Salah. But by the time he moved to Besiktas in August, his value had plummeted to £14 million. Having been branded with the unenviable label of a failed wonder kid, a fresh start is exactly what Dele Alli needs, and a move to one of the Turkish giants could be the key to getting him back on track, with the possibility of silverware and adoration from the fans. He's already had a great start to life in Istanbul, and long may it continue. 9. Roman Uremchuk. Following a 20-goal season for the Belgian outfit Ghent and an impressive Euro 2020, Ukraine striker Roman Uremchuk earned a €20 million move to Benfica last summer, linking up with Darwin Núñez in Lisbon. But despite a promising start, scoring 4 in his first 5 appearances, he netted just twice in the league after that, making just 13 starts. He did grab an all-important equaliser against Ajax in the Champions League round of 16 first leg, helping the Eagles to an unlikely victory over Erik ten Hag's side, but his year in Portugal was ultimately a disappointment, with his shots dropping from 3.2 to 2.5 per 90, while he also got caught offside over twice as often as he did with Ghent. And despite also selling Núñez, the club considered Uremchuk's surplus to requirements, with Club Brugge bringing him back to Belgium for €16 million late in the summer window. Having struggled to get to grips with a new league in what was also a difficult campaign for him on a personal level given the invasion of his home country, going back to the competition where he honed his skills as a striker seems pretty wise, especially given he's joined a club that has won the last 3 titles and has reinvested heavily in the squad ahead of another Champions League campaign. Manager Carl Herfkens will no doubt be expecting to see a big return from the big centre forwards. 8. Luka Jovic. Considering he always looked out of place at Real Madrid, calling time on his life in the Spanish capital to join a resurgent Fiorentina side doesn't really feel like a step back for Luka Jovic. The Serbian striker played just over 1,500 minutes across 3 years in Spain, scoring just 3 times and barely being used by 2 different managers. However, it hasn't been plain sailing for him in Italy so far. He scored a world-taking goal on his debut against newly promoted Cremonese, but Vincenzo Italiano's side have failed to win in their following 4 games, scoring just once. Having taken 7 shots in that opening fixture, Jovic has averaged just 1 a match in his 3 starts since, and at the time of writing also had a penalty saved in their 1-1 draw with Juventus. But it's early days yet, and while fans can't exactly expect him to have the kind of impact that countryman Dusan Vlahovic enjoyed at the Artemio Franchi, he remains a decent option up front as January signing Artur Cabral continues to adapt. 7. Isco. Another player who was fading into obscurity at Real Madrid, Isco finally left the Bernabeu after almost a decade this summer when his contract expired, having made over 350 appearances for Los Blancos. It was a long time coming too. The last season in which Isco made a significant contribution was all the way back in 2017-18, while he failed to play more than 2,000 La Liga minutes following his first 2 seasons at the club. And luckily for the attacking midfielder, he hasn't had to sacrifice Champions League football, joining Sevilla, who less than a year ago were putting up an unlikely title challenge. However, results haven't been the same at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan, who played host to 2 batterings at the hand of Barcelona and Manchester City in Isco's first 2 starts for the Andalusians. A pretty humbling start to his new job then, but at his peak, Isco was one of the best players to watch in Europe, and while those days are now long gone, the 30-year-old should still be a regular starter for Sevilla. This season should tell us if Isco's lost his magic or not. 6. Riqui Pooch. Having rejected the chance to go out on loan during his time with Barcelona, something former coach Ronald Koeman was keen for him to do, Riqui Pooch found opportunities just as hard to come by under Xavi, handed just 2 starts all season with Pedri, Gavi and Nico all preferred to him in midfield. Put simply, Pooch just wasn't up to it at the Camp Nou, and while he was previously linked with a move to Leeds in the Premier League, he's now ended up in Major League Soccer with LA Galaxy, signing a 3-year deal with the California outfit in August. And he started life in the States very positively, recording a goal and an assist in his first 4 appearances at Greg Vanny's side aimed to make the playoffs for just the 2nd time since 2016. The 23-year-old's decision to leave Europe for the States is unorthodox for someone his age, but the American competition has shed its retirement home image in recent years, becoming a more viable place for young players to develop. Nevertheless, Pooch's MLS performances are probably less likely to garner the attention of European suitors than his limited minutes at Barca, so he may just have to get used to life on the West Coast. 5. Amadou Diwara. Tip for big things following an impressive season at Bologna as a teenager, Amadou Diwara struggled to live up to the hype following his move to Napoli in 2016, making just 10 starts in his first season under Maurizio Sarri and just 5 in his second, eventually leaving in 2019 for Roma, where he also failed to become a first-team regular. After playing just 169 minutes of Serie A action under Jose Mourinho, he was sold to Anderlecht for €1.5 million, almost 15 times less than the €21 million that had been paid for him just 3 years earlier. But having just turned 25, there is plenty of time for the defensive midfielder to rebuild his stuttering career. And like his Roman Uremchuk can attest to, the Belgian Pro League provides plenty of opportunity. He isn't exactly a destroyer, making 3.2 tackles and interceptions per 90, but he is an active presser, attempting a huge 26.7 pressures a match in his second season at Roma. And while his passing game has declined in recent years, he was superb at his peak, completing 8.1 passes into the final third per 90 in his final campaign at Napoli, pretty close to what Fabian Ruiz and Alan were managing that season. There is no denying Diwara's got talent, let's hope he can finally justify it at Anderlecht. 4. Calvin Stengs. Considered by us one of the smartest pickups of the summer when he joined Nice from AZ Alkmaar for €13 million last year, Calvin Stengs was coming off 2 consecutive seasons of hitting double figures for goal involvements in the Eredivisie, where he also constantly averaged over 2 shots, key passes and dribbles per 90. Despite manager Christophe Gauthier pushing for the signing, there were reportedly several figures within the club hierarchy who felt he wouldn't work in his system. And unfortunately, they were proved right. Stengs was only given 11 starts in Ligue 1, mustering only a goal and an assist in just over 1,000 minutes, while his underlying numbers also dropped off. And despite starting the first 3 games of the new season under returning boss Lucien Favre, the arrivals of Nicolas Pepe and Sofiane Diop signalled a need to move away, and he joined Royal Antwerp on loan before the deadline. Top of the Belgian Pro League at the time of writing, having won each of their opening 7 games, Stengs is joining a team on the up under Mark van Bommel, although he won't have any European football to look forward to after losing to Istanbul Basaksehir in the final Conference League playoff. Nevertheless, Belgium has become a good location for young players to put themselves in the shop window, and a career-best campaign could see the 23-year-old become hot property once again. 3 and 2, Jesse Lingard and Renan Lodi. The extensive summer business of Nottingham Forest has been well discussed, with a number of players leaving or rejecting established top-level clubs in order to join Steve Cooper's projects. But in terms of players who really needed a refresh, 2 signings stand out: Jesse Lingard and Renan Lodi. Once a first-team regular at Manchester United, Lingard's career has stagnated since 2018, with the exception being his electric 6-month loan at West Ham in 2021, in which he registered 9 goals and 4 assists. A permanent move to the London Stadium seemed on the cards, but with former United boss Ole Gunnar Solskjaer insistent that he was part of his plans, the England international returned to Old Trafford only to find himself rooted back to the bench. After vowing to leave when his contract expired this summer, many expected Lingard to finally rejoin the Hammers, but instead he chose Forest, with regular first-team football and staying local to his family both factors in his decision. And so far, he's been vindicated, starting 5 times this season. Renan Lodi, meanwhile, was only recently considered one of the most talented young fullbacks in Europe, impressing in his first season at Atletico Madrid, particularly in their famous victory over Liverpool in the Champions League last 16. But having played nearly 2,500 La Liga minutes in the 2019-20 campaign, Diego Simeone reduced that to less than 1,200 minutes the following year, as Yannick Carrasco became his preferred left wing-back. Lodi continued to play a bit-part role last term, prompting links to Newcastle United in the Premier League. But an offer never came from the Magpies, with the Brazil international eventually joining Forest on loan in August, becoming their 3rd addition at left-back after Harry Toffolo and Omar Richards. So whether his decision to move to the City Ground is the right one remains to be seen. He has started both games for which he's been available, but he will face plenty of competition once Richards returns from injury. Swapping Champions League football for a relegation scrap is a very bold move, and at 24 it comes in a crucial period in Lodi's career. Having not made the Brazil squad since last November, he will need to make a real splash in the Premier League to make it into Tite's plans for Qatar. 1. Timo Werner. Timo Werner's €53 million move to Chelsea in 2020 not only seemed like a relative bargain at the time, but was also meant to herald the German forward's long-awaited step into the football stratosphere. Following a superb 4-season stint at RB Leipzig, hitting 20+ goals in 3 of them and registering 36 goal involvements in 34 Bundesliga games in his final one, there was no doubting his superstar potential. But with 2 different coaches failing to unlock his qualities at Stamford Bridge, Werner returned to Leipzig this summer for less than half what the Blues paid for him 2 years before, hoping to recapture the form that made him one of the Bundesliga's biggest stars. But having initially left a side that was going from strength to strength under Julian Nagelsmann, Werner has re-entered a far more chaotic Leipzig, with the club hiring 3 different managers in the 15 months following Nagelsmann's departure. However, new boss Marco Rose certainly has the credentials to get the best out of him, and the faster, more transitional nature of the Bundesliga is far more suitable to Werner than the heavy possession build-up tactics of Thomas Tuchel. He's far off scoring 34 goals in a season again, but we reckon the Stuttgart Academy graduate's decision to leave Chelsea was the right one. So that was our look at 10 players hitting the reset button and having a fresh start this campaign. What did you make of our selections? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to EuroFootball Daily with the notification bell switched on and you'll never miss a video. See you next time.